Hey, Kern County, my name is Mia Salzano. I am the executive digital producer here at 17 News. I am sitting here with 17 News reporter Christian Galeno, and we're going to be talking about the mysterious and tragic circumstances surrounding the missing West boys, Orrin and Orson West. Now, tomorrow marks exactly 1 year since they were reported missing. Christian, can you take us through what has been happening since then?
Yeah, so thanks for everyone that's tuning in to this, special webcast. So not a lot has really been going on with this case, and tomorrow we're actually going to go a little bit more deeper into this. We're going to go over everything that has happened, like as we could recall, and for those of us that have been following this case for the past year, it's been a year full of really not a lot of answers, not a lot of leads. We've been following this case with the family for now a couple of months, going into a year, and really a lot of these family members have been left really in the dark and left with many unanswered questions as well. Well, since December 21st, 2020, Bakersfield Police Department has taken over this investigation, and they've conducted hundreds of searches. They've talked to many people as well. They've also followed up on hundreds upon hundreds of leads in regards to this case as well. Now, we do have something really big, one of the latest updates that we've sort of had in this case, and you guys are going to know or actually learn a little bit more about this tomorrow during our special, is that, the biological family, so Charles Pettis, and you guys are actually going to get to hear a little bit about him today and then also during tomorrow's special, but the biological family of the boys has actually filed a complaint or a lawsuit against Kern County CPS for the wrongful removal, and I'm actually going to show you guys, this is the actual complaint that the family, that 17 News has obtained, and we're going to go a little bit more deeper into this during the story tomorrow as well. Now, that complaint filed by the family has, it's because of negligence and as well for wrongful death. And like I said, this has been filed against Kern County as well. So that is one of the huge developments. There is more developments that we're going to be releasing tomorrow during our special, which is set to air tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the evening. So that's just some of, the latest information that's been going on. That's some of the latest information also that we've uncovered in this case and in our reporting that we've been following for the past year now.
Thanks so much, Christian. And how about we take a look at what the lawyers had to say when you talked to them?
Yeah.
We believe they weren't a proper home and they weren't responsible. And we believe that they are responsible for the disappearance, and we'll see if that turns into more. And it's incumbent upon these bureaucratic government agencies to do more.
So you also talked to Charles Pettis himself, right?
Yeah, so as you guys just heard, that was actually Darren Ritchie, one of the attorneys that's representing Charles Pettis, which is the biological father of the missing West brothers, or, that West was the last name given to the boys by their adoptive family. They are, their biological parents gave them the name of Classic and Cincere. Now, we do have an interview with the father himself, Charles Pettis, which is the biological father once again. And, he shares with us a pain that he's had to live with for an entire year. It's a pain that a father only understands of him missing, his children as well. In this interview that, you guys will get to see a bit during the special tomorrow, he mentions, the pain that he's had to go through, but then also he talks a little bit about the past year and what he's had to go through. An interesting fact about Charles Pettis, this is actually not the first child that he's actually lost. He previously did lose a child in a terrifying car accident out of state. And he talks to us a little bit about that as well during the interview. So let's take a listen a little bit about, just a clip of his interview that you guys can expect to see tomorrow as well. So take a listen.
Somebody know what's going on, but it's not nothing like you should just be like, oh, well, I don't know. If you did something, let people know. Because you hurting people's kids. You taking family away from family. You know what I mean? These were babies. You feel me?
So you've talked to Pettis. You've also talked with their biological mother, correct?
We've had some initial contact with both biological parents. For this story, we were not able to get an interview with the biological mother, so Ryan Dean. But we have been in contact with them. It has been very difficult. This was actually the first time that Charles Pettis ever gave an interview with any sort of media outlet. 17 News has been covering this story since the first time that the boys went missing. So throughout the year, it was around 9 months, 10 months since the disappearance, that Charles Pettis actually felt compelled to give an interview to media. And like I said, this was the first time ever that he spoke to cameras or just any media outlet, and it was quite difficult for him as well. You know, it's very, very difficult. We do have some interviews, though, from the day that the boys went missing from the biological mother, Ryan Dean, and, you know, it's really painful to have to just really rewatch a lot of these interviews, and I think everyone that has been closely following this case can really agree, you know, having to listen to these parents break down in front of, you know, multiple cameras because they don't know where their children have gone to or are missing, you know, and they have no answers. You know, it's very sad. It's very difficult to have to be there. You guys are seeing some footage right now from the searches that happened last year, and, you know, the community has really been involved with the family. They've been there for these parents. They've been there for the biological family who's been organizing these monthly community prayers every single month on the 21st, you know, to really commemorate these children and pray that one day these children will be back home as well. So it's literally been a year full of community prayers. It's been a year full of unanswered questions. But the hope for these families that, you know, these children will return home or they're going to get answers one day hasn't died down yet. So you guys did hear a little bit about, you know, from Charles Pettis there as well, that he's talking about, you know, how they took away his family. They took a part of him. And again, it's really difficult to sometimes have to rewatch these interviews. But, you know, they have a very, very big community that's stretched far out of Kern County that's been supporting them, spreading the word about these boys, and mainly ensuring that the name of the boys does not go, you know, just disappear into thin air, and that we're keeping the name of the boys out there as well, in hopes that, you know, more people will catch attention about this, and that attention will stay there, but also that it will serve as a reminder for law enforcement that these families are still waiting for their return, that they're still hoping that the families get some sort of justice.
Thanks, Christian. Now, how about we, well, I also wanted to ask, have you gotten in contact with the adoptive parents at all?
Yeah, so you guys will actually be able to see that in our special. We've tried multiple times to get in contact with these adoptive parents. For those of you that are just joining us, you know, in this long year, the last time that the adoptive parents, Trezell and Jacqueline West, actually gave any sort of public interview was days after the children actually went missing at their California City home. Then the last time that they ever gave any sort of information, any sort of announcement, was through a public statement released by the adoptive grandmother, in which she pled, you know, with the public to provide any sort of information that will ensure the safe return of her adoptive grandchildren, Orson and Orrin West. That has been the last time that we've known or they've spoken publicly with any media outlets. BPD has told us that in the entire year they've been in contact with the adoptive parents, and that the adoptive parents have been closely working with them as well. But other than that, that's mainly the last contacts. And we've tried and attempted to reach out to them for this story, but we had no luck in really reaching out to them as well. They've sort of just been MIA.
All right, and like you said, this tragic circumstance has brought the community together, and it's also garnered a fair bit of national attention too. Can you talk to us a little bit about that and why you think people were so drawn to it?
Yeah, so this case has garnered international attention. In speaking to the biological family, they've told us that they've had people show interest in other countries as far as Canada, Mexico. There's been, people that have requested material posters. The shirts that have been worn at the community prayers have been shipped worldwide. Their supporters in England as well. And, to be quite frank and honest, I think the reason why this case has garnered so much attention, not only, in our community, but nationally and internationally, is that it's a very complex case. There's a lot of pieces to this case that still have yet to come together. And in one of the interviews that we did for this special is actually one of those YouTubers that has been closely following this case. His name is Duty Ron Liccardi, who is actually a retired NYPD detective. And he actually spoke to us a little bit about, not how this investigation is going, but usually what he's seen in his experience as a retired NYPD detective, what similarities that he's seen in this case with other cases that he's worked with or worked on in the past. But Duty Ron has actually also been involved in this case by spreading that word and keeping that case, and raising awareness of the case through his channel, which he has a show. It's like a true crime YouTube series called Crime Time with Duty Ron. And, something spectacular and marvelous that sort of happened out of this, and you'll get to know a lot of the members of the community that got involved and felt compelled. We're going to hear from Jennifer Nobles, who is a local businesswoman and community member that learned about the story through our coverage here on 17 News and decided to feel compelled. She started off by donating money to keep up a billboard. Then, other people caught wind of her noble actions as well. No pun intended there with her last name. But, she donated, and then she inspired other people to start donating, to the cause as well, and to just get involved. And then that's where Duty Ron comes in as well. And take a listen. He'll explain a little bit better and what you guys can expect on tomorrow's special.
My generous subscribers and friends, as I call them, these are a part of my family. With Crime Time with Duty Ron, they've sent in donations month after month, and now it's going on about 11 months that we've sponsored the digital billboard. And the reason I thought it was very important to sponsor that digital billboard is because having the kids' face and names out in social media, out to the general public, that highway billboard on Highway 99, that digital billboard, courtesy of Lamar Advertising, that is crucial to have this case not go cold in the public eye.
So, Christian, this isn't the only missing persons case coming out of Cal City. Can you talk a little bit about the other cold cases out there?
Yeah, so, I wish that we could say there's better news out of Cal City as well, but unfortunately this reputation that this community, this desert community has is not a very good one. It's a community of about 14,000 working class residents, and it's pretty difficult, with a lot of the people that we've spoken with, it's difficult for them to have to hear that type of news out of California City. And yeah, there's been several different cases out of California City that have gone cold, you could say. But there's been cases where there has been no answers for almost 10 years, and you guys are actually going to meet some of the family members during the special as well. Now, Mia, I do want to back up a little bit just before, when we're talking about the community, because I think it's important to note that these cases that we're going to feature here as well that have sort of gone cold out of Cal City, these family members of these cases have also gotten involved very closely and intimately with the family of Cincere and Classic, Orson and Orrin West, They've been at the community prayers that are held in Cal City. They've been at some of the community prayers in Bakersfield. And they've been, it's a community, unfortunately, through all this, these very sad situations, it's brought these families together to be there for them. And they're driven by one thing, and that one thing is to not allow the case to go cold, or to not allow these cases to go on for years with, unanswered questions. Now, you guys saw some of the footage in there as well, that those billboards that Duty Ron was talking about are actually billboards that have been up off of Highway 99. If anybody that's tuning in right now has driven through Highway 99 in Bakersfield, that billboard has been able to stay there throughout the entire year thanks to the donations that have been coming in. Through the community as well, there's people like Keisha Stevenson, who is a close friend of the family, and she's actually been the one that has created the shirts that you guys can see in some of these videos that people wear to these community prayers. Now, going back to these cold cases out of California City, there's very numerous ones. A couple of them that we're going to be featuring in the special include the story of Desiree Thompson, whose case is actually, she's going missing for 10 years now out of California City this upcoming January. We're also going to hear a little bit about from the mother of Devery Schiller, who was, tragically murdered in California City and whose body was dumped at Central Park. These are just some of the cases that we're going to be featuring in this special as part of our coverage as well. In an effort to, once again, just keep those cases and those names out there as well. So take a listen right now. You guys are going to listen a little bit from one of those mothers.
There's a dark element out there in Cal City. It's a dark element out there. And there should not be so many cold cases not being solved.
Thank you so much, Christian. Yes, you're so right. It's so important to have the community behind you during something like this, especially for the family, for the friends, loved ones, everyone. And thank you so much for your time today. And thank you all for watching so much.